Guys, traffic court gets crazy. So we have an update with Corey Harris, the man who went viral for his traffic court Zoom appearance, where he was pulling into a parking spot and driving while showing up for an appearance for a suspended license. Then after that, we had an update where it seemed like everybody needed to apologize to Corey Harris because it was some clerical error that made the mistake. But there's several plot twists in this story, and we're going to watch the most recent court proceeding. It's going to be a good time, so let's get started. Hit the like button. Let me pull this screen up. And we're gonna see what happens with Corey Harris. Now, by the way, there is this person waiting for their Zoom call in the bottom corner that has nothing to do with Corey Harris, just so you know, but they're going to be there on the Zoom camera like the whole time.
Okay, so the people versus Corey Harris.
Yeah, Pittsfield Township.
And if you didn't see the banner, read the banner and pay attention to his shirt.
Good afternoon. May it please this honorable court, Dion Webster Cox appearing on behalf of Mr. Harris. How are you, Your Honor?
We will see.
We're good. We're good.
Mr. Brown or somebody from the PD's office, because I did not get a substitution. I got an appearance.
So he has a private
Oh, I've got a
counsel.
substitution right here.
They did
Signed off on.
file
It
the
is.
substitute counsel
All right,
form
then I
ahead
don't
of
need
time.
to address. I don't need
Thank
to
you.
address the public defender's motion to withdraw. I'll consider that withdrawn given the substitution. I do have an appearance and I will sign off on the substitution.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. What are we doing today?
So, Your Honor, we were going to, there's several options that my client,
Well, and I want you to know, counsel, that because of certain things, the court has a number of things I have to say.
okay,
Because I think the record, given particularly some of Mr. Harris's comments with reference to this court potentially acting what at least as I'm to understand is on what some may be, or is it, let's put it this way. People are saying, and quite frankly, your client.
Oh no. Well, if you didn't get to see it,
that
shirt says, "Trust
Pittsfield
me."
Township, as well as this court, was acting on some type of defective or faulty information, which I will tell you, counsel, caused the court, given what the court did, to investigate what my ruling was. And I will tell you that that assertion is absolutely correct with reference to any faulty information that either came through to the Pittsfield Township Department of Public Safety or to this court ultimately at the May 15th hearing. And I think it needs to be stated, I've been asked for comments. I have refrained from comments, as is my normal practice is. This court with the pending case will speak on the record. And so I am going to make sure that the record is very, very clear as to what this court knows and what this court acted on May 15th. And we can start with this. And my basis for doing it is because of what was said about what this whole process was. And that
Having
an
internet issues.
indication, counsel, and I know, counsel, you've been before me before.
Absolutely.
I know it is not coming from you, but you also know how I am.
I do.
And
This
the
random
thing
girl
is
walking in
that
the Zoom.
if for whatever reason, the one
She's
time in my life I was
unrelated.
wrong, I will say it and did. But when I'm not wrong and when people are not to blame, then it also needs to be said. So I will try to get through this as quick as I possibly can. But I will tell you, first of all, with any reference to your client having had a license, on that day, and some indication or misunderstanding as to whether or not he had a license. Let me make it very clear, based upon what the court looked at, he has never had a Michigan license, ever. And has never had a license in the other 49 states and commonwealths that form up this great union.
No license ever, his whole
He
life.
has never had a license. In point of fact, when they suspended his license, and what people don't understand, when they suspended his license in Saginaw, they don't suspend the license. They suspend the privilege to drive in this state. Hence, for example, if he had had a Kentucky license, he would be able to drive everywhere that Kentucky would allow him to drive. He just couldn't drive in Michigan because his privileges had been restricted. I know you know that, but that wasn't at all said. But it doesn't matter because he didn't have a license ever. There is also then, and I will, when it is necessary, come to the defense of my sister courts, and I will come to the defense of Saginaw. They got a great chief judge. Chief judge answered the question. But I will tell you, that court and its friend of the court did nothing wrong. His license was, his driving privileges, better stated, were unsuspended in 2022. That required Mr. Harris to do something. He didn't do it.
You guys in the chat.
Therefore, the friend of the court was under no obligation to send anything to the Secretary of State. Now, I hated that I had to look at all of this, but when there's a question as to what I did, I'm going to look at everything to make sure.
Can you imagine going back, thinking you've crossed all your T's, dotted your I's, someone comes to court, they seem jovial, they're singing while they're pulling into their parking spot, granted they know they're not supposed to be driving, and then they go on the news and they say, look, this parking ticket that went viral, I'm embarrassed by it because it was a clerical error. And they pass the buck in a really believable way, because it really does happen. They say, I should have been fine, but it was a clerical error. Now I'm caught up in this, whatever. And then you're the judge. You hear this. And the press is asking you to give a statement to the press. You say, no, I'm not going to do that. You go and do your homework. You spend your time, probably time like making his day longer, to go look this up just to find out this guy doesn't have a license. But it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, you guys. And by the way, this lady in the bottom she's probably just waiting for her appearance. And she just gets to hear this whole story before she's called up on the docket. So she has nothing to do with the Corey Harris case. But if you guys haven't noticed, if it's too small on the screen, Corey Harris's shirt also says "Trust Me," which is just hilarious.
That what I did was all in order.
100%.
There's then an indication from that.
And yes, I think this was this morning, Pam.
Because that wasn't sent, there was a direct attack on Michigan's Department of Secretary of State's office, saying that the Secretary of State was somehow at fault. Let me tell you something. Secretary of State did what they were supposed to do. And in point of fact, they did nothing because they hadn't gotten anything from the court because Mr. Harris had not paid the reinstatement. This week,
did you guys process that? So, not only has he never had a license in any of the 50 states, but he also never paid the thing that would have lifted the suspension that was placed on him. So there wasn't even an opportunity for there to be a clerical error here. It's just a story on top of a story. And now he's in court with with private counsel that he must have retained somehow. And this private counsel has to hear all the stuff that her client didn't inform her of. So that public defender is probably so relieved to be done with this. And I'm sure the prosecutor's really happy right now.
Part of last week, once he paid that, Saginaw friend of the court did what they should do, and they sent it. Immediately, based upon the information that I have, the Secretary of State did what they do every day. They took that suspension off of his driving record, and he was then unsuspended. And then your client did what he needed to do with reference to the Secretary of State and paid a reinstatement. Okay. Just a second, Mr. Schiller, I'm gonna let everybody respond because
Thank you.
I am not done yet.
Okay.
All right?
You're covering a lot of the points for me. Thank you, Your Honor.
And
Prosecutor's so happy.
that came down to that. So the information at the time that I had, that Pittsfield Department of Public Safety had, was all correct at the time of both Pittsfield stop as well as the May 15th day. It was all correct. There was no error by anybody. It was a failure on the part of Mr. Harris to do certain things. Now, I grant you that sometimes that can be a complicated process, but it was certainly not anybody's fault that that didn't happen other than that wasn't paid. Now, here's the other thing, and I'm like
That is
maybe
wit's
where I
end.
say I'm about finished now. But the other part of this is this stop was in October. Most of the cases that we've heard just in this last afternoon are driving while license suspended cases. That's part of my Wednesday afternoon. We go through great pains to try to get people their licenses back, which is really how it should happen. Between October and because I don't live under a rock, I actually watch things. You look very nice on TV.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There was something that was said that was very disturbing to me. And I'm just going to let you know because I believe in being fair with everybody.
Uh-oh.
The question was asked along the lines between October of 2023 and the point in time of the May 15th hearing. Was there an attempt by Mr. Harris to correct his license? Here's the part that was disturbing for me, so that you know.
Okay.
Mr. Harris indicated that at some point he had been involved in some accident. And being involved into the accident that he was basically bedridden or at least housebound, he could not get to the Secretary of State.
So he couldn't show up to get this all resolved because he couldn't leave the house. He was like homebound, recovering from some injury from some accident. But like, this is like way too, this is just going to be crazy. I'll let you listen.
That was set up there. And I'm going to presume, because my knowledge of counsel, defense counsel is, I know you don't misrepresent anything.
Right.
You never do.
Right.
That's not true.
Okay.
This is okay.
He purposely stated that he could not get to the Secretary of State, which for the way we handle things in this court would have placed him in a whole different category. We would have tried to find a way. Let's figure it out. And the reason I know that is because Mr. Harris, on December 28th of 2023, do you know where you were?
Guys, where do you think he was?
December.
Where do you think he was in December on this day that Judge Simpson is going to call him out? Because he says he couldn't leave the house and go to the Secretary of State. He gave this reasoning that he was in some accident and he couldn't just go out and go. He specifically says he cannot get to the Secretary of State's office. Where do you think he actually is on this date he's about to call out? I don't know if anyone has any. Driving to the store. Yeah, I mean, maybe that could be included here. Driving. Hey, Ron. So, let's see. Because I was like, was he in jail or something? How do they know? How do they see a record to know where he was on a specific date? It's not jail.
Yeah, 23.
23rd.
2023.
Ron, you got it.
I know I was laid up from my
You were
accident.
at the Secretary of State's office. And you were at the Secretary of State's office because you redid
What is he there for?
and got your new Michigan ID.
So he's getting a Michigan ID at the Secretary of State's office after he's trying to excuse away this reason he couldn't deal with his October date that's getting him caught up in this May stuff with the excuse, well, I could never get down to the Secretary of State's office. But in that same time period, he was physically at the Secretary of State's office to renew his ID, not a driver's license. And if you don't know how that overlaps and why that's relevant, here we go.
I have the date. That's the date you did
You
it.
clearly drive.
December
license.
28th, 2023. You did. And so that you also know, and in all fairness to counsel, because I don't know if counsel knows this or not, the way I know that he's never had a license is because May 3rd, 1990, he was 19 at the time. May 3rd, 1999, he applied for his first Michigan ID. Counsel knows, so I do, you cannot have both. You either have an ID or you have a license, one of the two. He has religiously every year gotten a new ID. And so he knows that he doesn't have a license. And quite frankly, I just wish he would have said that at the beginning.
I wish it would zoom in on
And
his
all of this
face.
hoopla could have been just put all aside. And we all go through the process as we do with all of the people coming here to try to get him his license back. But his falsehoods, misstatements are not going to fare him well in this court. I'm done for now. I'm sure I will have something else to say. Whichever one of you would like to speak first, you may.
I'll
Wants to
wait to
speak
go
first.
last.
She don't want to talk.
Yes, I spent yesterday at the Pittsfield Township Police Department with Officer Monaster, performing the traffic stop in this case. I also noticed the December 28, 2023 date, and I know the significance of that, and the court just went through that painstakingly, and I thank you for that. In addition, at the traffic stop, when I was at the police department yesterday, we watched the body cam video. At least twice during this traffic stop,
What does he
he
say?
acknowledged to the officer that he did not have a valid license. Quote unquote, quote.
So he tells the police he knows he doesn't have a valid license, and then he tries to tell the judge that it was some clerical error. It's one thing to lie to a cop and expect mercy from a judge. It's totally different when you misrepresent something to a judge. Even if you're misrepresenting something to your attorney to represent to the judge incorrectly. Judges don't like that. Why would you tell the truth to the police and then go lie to the judge when the judge is obviously going to have a copy, a report that says exactly what you said to the police? Maybe not exactly. I don't want to give them too much credit for, integrity and accuracy all the time, but you get my point.
Actually, I don't have a valid license. Close quote. The question was, are you a valid driver? Quote, I am not. Close quote. So you know what? This is all this hoopla and the circus atmosphere is, in my opinion, is an affront to the justice system. I mean, I've been a prosecutor for more than 30 years, and to see this kind of hoopla around a driving while licensed suspended case is ridiculous. And it wasn't caused by this court. It wasn't caused by the Pittsfield Township Police Department. It was caused by the extrajudicial statements made outside this courtroom.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Go ahead, counsel.
thank you, Your Honor. Thank you very much. Well,
Sir is
first
gonna
thing I'd
kill
like
me
to say
forever.
is,
I'm going to order a Trust Me shirt.
very first thing is we're here and that we all saw this video. I wasn't in court. I wasn't even on YouTube watching the court today, right? I saw it because someone saw it and decided to post it. I can assure you that was not Mr. I don't think he has the capacity to be able to post it like that on YouTube or Instagram. So that was not him. And it happened to take off and go viral. So he had what we saw was him saying he was driving, which he should not have been driving, right? We're told not to drive on Zoom while doing that. So that's how this came came to the attention because the court, I saw you. He said, I can't believe this. Is he driving? And we all said that. Everyone who saw that video asked the same question. And that just it became a joke. It became a complete joke. Now, with respect to
Hey guys, let's be fair here. Let's not judge this woman, this attorney's lawyering by the hand that she is dealt with this. Because she might seem like she's stumbling to try to come up with something to say, but what do you say? What do you do? I don't think it's her fault. So, yeah, can we just forget the past and move forward? Please.
why, what we want to do, and I cannot say anything is with respect to what my client has said, but when we talk about the hoopla, my client didn't start the hoopla. Perhaps he's made some comments, but he didn't start the hoopla whatsoever. That was someone that was outside of his control as to how it went viral. He had no control over that, and that I'm going to stand on that. He did not send it out to Instagram. He didn't send it out to wherever. He didn't do that part. So, with respect to, did he have I don't want to try this case today at all, but what I want to do is focus on what's good. Now, what was good? That day in October, this officer here, that could have gone a whole other direction. And I'm so happy that you were so kind and courteous to my client. Thank you, officer. Thank you so much. Because it could have gone another direction. We are here right now. My client has an appointment to go to the Secretary of State for his permit. He's working on that. I want to focus on how do we correct this and cure this? How do we go forward with this situation? Whatever, he was not under oath under any of the things that he said. So we're not talking about any type of perjury going on.
But they haven't called it that.
Right? True.
They've appropriately characterized it as extrajudicial statements. So statements made outside of the courtroom. The judge and the prosecutor have both characterized it properly. Nobody's made the argument otherwise.
So with that being the case,
but do your thing, lady. Go
with this. He is here. This is what I'd like. Because
Counsel, let me just
yes,
I would like to move forward too on this case. We handle these cases all the time. But I will tell you, as you know, having appeared before me, the one thing I don't like is when people don't take responsibility for what they've done. When they take responsibility for it, we will use whatever we can to try to get you to another spot.
The girl in the bottom needs to take notes right now.
Be in that spot. One other thing that I will say, when you say it wasn't started by him, oh, it certainly was. It certainly was when he made his first statement to WXYZ about blaming people for this happening. And he shouldn't have done it. Because when you look at the whole thing, the person that needed to be blamed, and we can go back to a lot of other points, but I'm not here to embarrass it, but the person that needed to be blamed is the person that he was staring at in the mirror. He didn't do what he should have done, and that's okay. The majority of people that come here on a licensing didn't do what they were supposed to do. That's like a given. They don't go about blaming anybody. They just say, Your Honor, I didn't pay the ticket. Your Honor, I just didn't do it. I just didn't have the time to do it. I just didn't take whatever.
Right.
Just own it. Once you own it, then it becomes a whole lot easier just to move forward. Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted you and I said I wouldn't, but
had to get it off his chest. It was burning.
No, I know who you are and I respect that. So where I am is where I've always been, because I can assure you that when he did speak to WXYZ that day, I wasn't representing him. I was representing him yesterday, right? And you would heard my message is that what steps are to correct this. And that's what I'm about, Your Honor. How do we correct this, right? I understand the entire process. I have not gone into detail, but I will take the word of the court and of Mr. Stiller here, brother counsel, and about the background and the history of it. But how do we go forward? And that's why I'm here to sort of minimize. You okay? And he did get into an accident. Maybe down. Maybe please, Your Honor. Right behind. Oh, well, hold on. Okay.
He does have a cane and everything. Why didn't they let him like? If okay, so the attorney could have asked.
And
I
now
think early
that's
on
real.
for
That's a
that.
real injury.
I have no comment.
Okay. So what we're looking for, because there are some options here. My client has indicated to me and would like me to indicate to the court that he is in the process of procuring his license. Oh, hopefully that privilege will be available to him, but he does have, as you stated earlier, and I have the receipts, he did pay the reinstatement fee. Those fees are paid. Anything that was out in the previous court, those fees have been paid, and I've been presented with those receipts. In addition, on tomorrow, he's got
Is
his
there a
permit
permit
test
application?
coming up, and then after that, because
He has a test.
he's an adult, he's working on it so that he can take advantage of the offers that are available, because as you say, this court does want to help. Absolutely. And with that, because my client was in an accident, and I haven't seen the medical records, but because of some of the things, it could be, I don't know. But sometimes our memories get a little foggy. Now, am I going back to 1999? No, I'm not. But I'm just saying that I'm saying from this day forward, he is working diligently to take the steps necessary to get his driver's license so he can take advantage of the generous offer. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
I
Mr.
hate to say this, Your Honor, one additional thing. I think Fletcher Cox and I need to approach the bench. It may involve Mr. Allen.
Who's Mr.
I
Allen?
know, because I know what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Well, who's Mr. Allen?
That's my bailiff.
Oh,
I will give out whatever date I can.
okay.
Counsel, you probably didn't know this, and I wasn't sure where the prosecutor was gonna bring. He's got a warrant.
No, I did not know.
Yes, he has a warrant for his arrest. A bench warrant out of
Look at him inching, the
Allen
bailiff
Park.
inching
Allen
up.
Park. Mr. Allen.
24th District.
Look at him inch. There he goes.
Okay.
The shocking thing about it, for a driving while license suspended, that he didn't take care of.
Okay. Well, like I said,
So-
he wants to handle.
So
He's
what it
dedicated.
is that, and it's a valid warrant, I happen to be within their radius of pickup. Now, having said that, I don't know if they will pick him up.
Okay.
I will say that what should have happened, I'm not gonna go through and try to figure out whether it did happen. But when he was arrested, when he turned himself in on my revocation of bond, upon being released, he should have been apprised, warned and released to go take care of it. I don't know whether he was. I really don't care whether he was or not. All I know is that was back at mid-May, and it hasn't been taken care of. And it's still valid. I was hoping maybe that somebody was going to try and take care of it, because I'm sure if you had known, they would have been done. So much so that part of my delay in getting out of here was to make sure that it was valid. I had my staff run him right before I came out, so that if it hadn't gotten taken care of and in, then fine, we were okay and I didn't need to deal with it.
Right.
But it's still there.
Okay.
So will July 17th work as a new date for you? Come back, because as I understand it, he is right now not licensed. So if he goes in on Thursday, gets his permit, he's got to drive for at least 30 days. Apparently he knows how to do that part.
Okay, so Judge Simpson really is being like generous, offering the calendar to fit how this would all play out with him having time to get his driving hours in, take and schedule his road test to actually pass and get his license. That's very accommodating.
Sorry, that was Adam. I'm sorry, I didn't need to say that, but he knows how to do that part, but then he's got to go back, take the test,
Right.
and then he can do that. He may be able to accomplish it in that time that 45-day period. If not,
If he takes
then
action.
counsel, I just want him to have a license.
We all want the same thing. One moment. So
He's probably like, no,
the
I like my
17th,
ID.
It may not be me, it'll be another attorney from my office who can.
Well, I don't
I'm
want
in
that.
trial.
I don't want that.
You want me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. You'll never hear me say that.
Okay.
But I don't want to go through this whole, you understand it.
Right, no, I get it. So I started trial on the 15th and
What's my date after the 17th?
August 7th.
What about August 7th? We can just put it out and then he can do what he's gonna
Everybody
do or
mark your
not do what he's
calendar
gonna
for
do,
August
but
7th.
He should be able to.
August 7th at 1 o'clock, or would it be a 9 a.m.?
It
We all
will,
gonna be
I
in the
will set it
Zoom.
at 9. We will send it in right now that we have your appearance. So you'll get a direct invite from us as to what time about these.
Okay, and then I just need one moment to talk to my client. He wants
Yes.
to tell me something.
Boy. This poor girl, like, waiting for her to be heard. I don't know if he'll be proactive to go and take care of that bench warrant if he hasn't been proactive about anything else. That's probably why the judge didn't even hint at that. Oh, we lost her. She was just a random person watching the Zoom.
Okay, August 7th at 9 a.m.
At 9 a.m. I'm gonna take him into custody on the warrant. The only question that I have, and the way I look at the warrant, the bond looks like $500.
Okay,
Two things. First, I don't know whether or not they'll come get him. If
right.
they don't come and get him, we'll release him. We're not gonna hold him. If they are coming to get him and he's gonna be held, the only question I would have for you, counsel, is do you want me to set a nominal bond on this so that he gets credit or do nothing and not worry about it? I'll leave that up to you.
Assuming she's talking with Corey. Okay, there. This camera guy has one job.
Okay,
And we've got
that
two
will
screens
be,
on the
but
judge half the
absolutely, I
time.
want him to be able to get full credit for anything that is necessary.
So let's do it this way. If he's not, so I'm gonna take him in. If for whatever reason he's not released tomorrow, call my office and with the agreement, I will set a nominal bond
Okay,
on it rather than do it right now. So he has to deal with two things. So that you're also clear. Part of the reason I'm also doing this is because I think he was warned and released, didn't take care of it. And secondly, this has been out there for 9 years.
well, I did not know about it, Your Honor. Okay,
Counsel, there is not a doubt in my mind that that's true.
That bailiff
Yeah,
is just waiting.
No, you did not. I go to the bank on that one in a minute because I know you would have taken care of it.
yes.
All right.
It's going to be taken care of today. His wife is here
Okay.
and it will be taken care of. So I will absolutely call your office tomorrow to see
Second row?
what is, call the court to see the status of it.
I'm nosy.
Oh, we're going to take care of this.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we're going to
We'll
do.
see you in August.
Okay,
Defendant is remanded on
So-
the Allen parking. Sir, you can go with my baby.
Well, we're going to watch this, of course, and then we can talk about it.
So at this point, his bond will continue as. Thank you.
So his intake is going to have the Trust Me shirt
Counsel,
for the intake. So, okay, so we need to, what do you guys think about August 7th? What do you think our status on August 7th is going to be? Will we have other warrant issue taken care of? Will we have, I don't know if like that will interfere with him scheduling a permit test, but do you think he'll actually go get his license? We just heard it took him 9 years, or it's not that it took him 9 years. Something's been a problem for 9 years and he didn't take care of it. And You know, as nice as Judge Simpson tried to be, he's like, I have no choice. I have to take you in. I have to take you into custody. I'll try to get you out of here tomorrow with a nominal bond amount. But it's been open for 9 years. Like, at this point, Judge Simpson's doing like the heavy lifting for Corey Harris to get his stuff sorted out. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. Let's see. No, so he never had a license, Cali Buzz. So that was the thing. And Judge Simpson snapped because he was saying Corey Harris went and made these out-of-court statements, these extrajudicial statements in the news, saying that it was a clerical error and that his license should have been reinstated, but he's never in any state had a driver's license. He's only ever had an ID card. And he even, while he was pulled over during the traffic stop that this original court date was for in front of Judge Simpson, told the officers he knew twice that he didn't have a valid license. So it's one of those things where it went viral. It went viral because his reaction in court was funny, right? And like, you're showing up to a suspended license citation ticket while driving in front of the judge on a Zoom call. That's funny. It goes viral. And then he goes to the news and says, this is really embarrassing, but it was a mistake. It was a clerical error. And then the judge has to go and do this research, finds out that that's not true at all. It's a misrepresentation on multiple levels. So Judge Simpson kind of like let off. If you go back to the beginning of this and watch, you'll see Judge Simpson lay it all out. Like, just crazy. Exactly. And the whole time this guy is wearing a shirt that says, trust me, in court, while the judge is telling him why he can't be trusted. So, just a lot. That's a lot. And then let's see. Shocked the judge didn't cite him for perjury, but that's, you know, we don't know where he's made any statements. So, and the judge, I mean, the attorney was like, you know, he never said anything under oath, even though nobody argued that he did. But if he had, that's where perjury could really come into play. Or if he made certain sworn statements that would conflict each other. But I'm not sure he ever like signed anything that would say, under penalty of perjury, I have a valid driver's license. He probably never went into a room that had paperwork in his life. So he just seems to be floating on by, getting on by. And I don't think it's that weird to just, and Simpson pointed it out, you know, people come in here all the time. I'm sure that they have the ID and they drive dirty. They ride with no license. I don't think it's really that uncommon, truth be told. I have friends that drove with no license for a long time. And it's like it's hilarious when they finally get their license. And my friends, though, they never in their life get pulled over for anything. I have one friend in particular. She never, ever in her life got pulled over. And when she told me she finally got her license, I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I finally got my license. And I'm like, girl, we've like carpooled. You like drive all the time. What do you mean? She's never gotten a ticket. She's never gotten in trouble for having no license while driving. And I'm just like, how's your car insured? How's your car registered? Like, how do we get here? What's the math? Like, how does this even work? But this guy has been doing this and getting pulled over multiple times. So he doesn't have the same luck or pathway that my one example went through, where she never had an issue with it. She never had to face the reality that she wasn't licensed to be driving. She just had an ID forever. So who knows? And then, okay, I'm gonna ignore your comments, Rosemary. And then, yeah, I mean, it must have been in someone else's name, unless I doubt her car was uninsured, although. So this was when I lived in Rochester, New York. There was a guy, he was homeless, and people used to pay him to go take people's license plates. Like, that was the story. So whenever, and like, you ever see on Facebook, guys, when there's a news story about someone doing something, like some crime watchers, some report happens, people would ask, like, well, how does someone have this car for so long if it's not really theirs? And then people in the comments would say, I forget what his name was. I don't want to make it, I want to say Ron, but I don't want to put Ron on the spot if he's still in the chat, but I think Ron was the guy's name. And they would be like, oh, Ron probably went and got it. They probably paid him $10 to go and get this license plate. And it was a thing that you would see in the Facebook comments all the time. So there's ways that you can drive around with a car with no registration, no insurance, And then oftentimes when you get pulled over, unless they identify it as a stolen vehicle of some sort, most people will buy a beater car used and then I guess get these fake plates or put like keep old plates on it that aren't actually active and then just hope a cop never drives behind them and runs their plates. And they just do that. And then if you get pulled over, you get a citation for it and you got to take care of it. But I don't really know if it's an issue until you do what Corey did and kept kicking the can down the road for like 9 years. So, but yeah. No. But yeah, it's not that different from a like I don't think I know sovereign citizens make the argument that I forget the paragraph that they say, but they have like a specific paragraph that they learn to recite that, you know, I have the right to drive on these roads. I don't need to be licensed or whatever their explanation is. I can't imagine any of my my one friend or the people in Rochester talking about this actually adopting that mindset. They'll just be like, ah, crap, I got pulled over. So, but yeah. And you say that's the norm in South Florida. I can picture that. I can picture it. So I don't know, guys. I will literally put a calendar block for August 7th. And this time zone, it's East Coast, right? So I will block it on my calendar for August 7th, and we can see what happens to Corey Harris if you guys want to do that. Other than that, I'm going to wrap it up. I just thought it was so funny. I saw that there was an update. I pulled up the live feed. I saw this man was wearing a Trust Me shirt. And I said, oh my God, this is going to be good. So I think this was a great chat. You guys are hilarious. All of your commentary has been great. Lord ADS, I missed you earlier, so shout out to you. How are you doing? But definitely, if you guys want to do a live stream on August 7th, we can do it. And we can, what if Vegas, like let's talk parlays. Like, do you think Vegas has betting odds for this? If Corey Harris actually takes care of his bench warrant and takes his road test, they have to have some type of betting on this. That's what I'm gonna look at, and I'll keep you guys updated if I see any Vegas odds there. That would be very funny. And no problem, you know, so I didn't end up reading the lawsuit on a stream. It's really heavy. I don't want to do that. I really do like to look for inconsistencies, look for good lawyering or bad lawyering. The Dream lawsuit, I read it on my own, guys. I'm not doing a stream on it. There's a lot of crazy dark stuff in there, so I'm just not going to do a stream on that. This was certainly entertaining and helped lift my spirits up a lot, and I'm glad it did the same for you, Rosemary. I hope for everyone else in the chat it did the same, gave you some laugh. I feel bad laughing at someone who's, you know, that sucks, being taken into custody, but there's no excuse at this point, so at this point I'm just laughing. What else can you do? Let's see, Archer, you're late to the party, but glad to see you here. If you're on the beginning, you're gonna hear this at the end really late. And then, oh, good, that's awesome, Kimberly. I think a lot of my audience is majors, and I can't wait for an update there with the, I think we might get something from the civil case first in July. But maybe some notice of appeal. We'll get some news on that too. But I can't wait to hear some motion over there because it burns me thinking about how that happened. And then the appeal process drags out for so long and you just have no recourse. If you're in his shoes, you have no recourse until the courts move forward. You're just stuck with whatever they wanted to place on you. And I really hate that for him. So I'm glad you've been here since then. And I'm hopefully this is lighter content for you too, something more enjoyable to hear about than that. But other than that, you guys, August 7th, keep that pinned. And if anyone does want the Dream lawsuit, just drop a comment and we'll figure out how to get connected. I can send it over to you. It's really, I'm not going to do a stream on it, to be honest. I just can't picture myself reading that stuff out loud. As much as I've read some other hilarious texts like Vince McMahon stuff and the Kanye accuser yesterday. I can't do the Dream one. I'm not cut for it. Sorry, guys. But I've been so happy to have this chat with you guys. And yeah, like, where's part 4? August 7th is going to be part 4. We will be here on August 7th. So, and yes, that's going to be the new YouTube friendly words for me is flick and duck. But August 7th will be the next Corey Harris stream, you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys have an awesome morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.